This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision-crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision-crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
This is the FPL Draft Zone, your fantasy team's best signing of the season.
The top 5 race is alive, but who's shooting their side to the Champions League? With 3 game weeks left, it's now or never in your race for Draft League glory, and we've got all the top waiver picks ahead of Game Week 36. Hello and welcome to the FPL Draft Zone, a podcast all about Draft FPL. I'm Dom Crofts. I hope you are well. And the end of the season is nearly here. There are just 3 game weeks left now, and that means it is business time in draft leagues across the globe. So let's not mess about, let's not waste any time. Let's crack on with a quick look back at what happened in Game Week 35 and learn a few lessons from each fixture. And it all started with that Friday night game between Manchester City and Wolves. City won 1-0 thanks to a Kevin De Bruyne goal, but Wolves played really well, with Cunha in particular looking good, and 2 of Wolves' last 3 games are at home. As for City, well, they look like they're the favourites to finish second now, having won 5 of their last 6 and having kept 4 clean sheets in those last 6 matches. Aston Villa beat Fulham 1-0 as they continue to fight for a top 5 finish of their own. Yuri Tielemans is a man in form. He got his 4th attacking return in his last 5 matches, and draw specialists Everton threw away a 2-goal lead at Goodison Park to draw again with Ipswich Town. Beto, Nathan Patterson and Dwight McNeil all returned for the hosts. Leicester beat Southampton 2-0 in the battle at the bottom, with Jamie Vardy scoring his 199th goal for the Foxes, and Bournemouth completed the double over Arsenal after they won 2-1 at the Emirates, with Evan Nielsen getting another goal. He's now got 15 attacking returns in his first season in the Premier League. On Sunday, Kevin Schade scored twice as Brentford beat Manchester United 4-3, with Amad Diallo also getting on the score sheet following his return from injury. Brighton drew 1-1 with Newcastle. West Ham drew 1-1 with Spurs, with Jared Bowen getting his 5th attacking return in his last 5 games, and Chelsea beat the champions Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, with Enzo Fernandez getting a goal and 2 bonus points for his efforts. Then wrapping up the game week on Monday night, it finished Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1, with Eberici Eze scoring again for Palace to dent Forest's Champions League hopes. So that is what happened in game week 35, and of course we hope you had a successful week, but now it is all about game week 36, so let's crack on with some waiver wants.
The FPL Draft Zone, waiver wants.
And as usual, we're going to take a look at the game week in fixture order and make a few waiver suggestions that will hopefully help you to win your game week. A reminder that we are focusing on those players who are likely to be available on your waivers, and not those top tier players who will have been snapped up on draft night and held all season long. So first up are the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday afternoon. There is no lunchtime kickoff this weekend. So we start with Fulham against Everton. We've already mentioned that Everton are the draw specialists in the Premier League right now. They've drawn 6 of their last 10 games. They've also drawn their last 3 games against Fulham, including a 1-1 draw earlier this season. Alex Iwobi and Beto were both on target that day. And if either of those players are available on your waivers, I would be seriously considering getting them in for this game week. Iwobi has been excellent all campaign for Marco Silva's side. He has 4 attacking returns in his last 5 games. Beto was back on target as well for the Toffees this weekend against Ipswich after a bit of a barren streak. But with Dominic Calvert-Lewin back available again, he seems to have stepped up his game, and I would expect him to be Everton's main attacking threat this weekend. Dwight McNeil is the other Blues player I would be keen to get in if he's free, specifically because they have Southampton at home to follow this game in game week 37. So stocking up on Toffee's key men while you can would be a very solid move, in my opinion. It's Ipswich against Brentford at Portman Road. Ipswich are already down. Brentford have a vague hope of making the Conference League next season. Ipswich have conceded at least 2 goals in each of their last 7 matches, so any Brentford attacking assets are good assets this week. Kevin Schade will be a man on demand after his brace against Manchester United, but if you have the chance to pick him up with an early waiver, I would definitely do it. Damsgaard or even Nathan Collins would also be good options for this week. Christian Norgard and Keane Lewis Potter are 2 other players I certainly wouldn't rule out. They may well earn you some crucial points going forward, given Ipswich's leaky backline. Manchester City take on Southampton at St Mary's, and you'd have to fancy Pep's side to run riot in this one, so any route into their team is a good route this week. Attacking wise, it's worth considering the likes of Nathan O'Reilly or Kovacic, both of whom have been in good form recently. Ilkay Gundogan has played at least 70 minutes in each of City's last 7 games, and he's managed 3 attacking returns across that period as well. And given it's Southampton, City defensive assets would be lovely if you can get them in. Akanji must be edging closer to a first team start, having returned from injury. He managed 32 minutes against Wolves. O'Reilly and Nunez's roles as fullbacks, despite being midfielders, makes any other defensive options a little bit tricky. Wolves entertain Brighton at Molineux. I fancy Wolves to win this one, and with Jurgen Strand Larsen struggling with a groin injury, it may be another week to target a certain man named Bellegarde. He was the main beneficiary of Cunha's suspension. He has 2 goals and 6 assists so far this season. Brighton did get a point last time out at home to Newcastle, but they did also give up a lot of chances to the Toon, and I would expect them to do the same this weekend. So Bellegarde or Mugnetzi is another Wolves option that I would consider if you fancy them to pick up 3 points against the Seagulls, which I do. It's Bournemouth against Aston Villa at the Vitality Stadium, and this is a tough one to call with the Cherries high on confidence following that win over Arsenal, and Villa still pushing hard for a Champions League place. If you fancy Bournemouth to do some damage to Unai Emery's hopes of playing in Europe's premier competition again, Marcus Tavernier and Dango Utara are the most likely options to be free from their attack. As for Villa, we mentioned him earlier, but Yuri Tielemans is doing everything he can to carry his side over the line and get them back into the Champions League, and he would be my pick of your options from Villa, especially when you consider the rotation risks further forward. Again, I would expect both teams to score here, so I would avoid defenders from this one. On Sunday, Newcastle take on Chelsea at St James's Park, and I fancy Newcastle to win this one. I know Chelsea just beat the champions, but I do not think they're going to get anything here. There are doubts over Fabian Schär for this one, and if he doesn't make it, it's between Emil Kraft and Sven Botman for his starting place. I would expect Eddie Howe to go with Botman, and with Joe Linton injured, Joe Willock is a viable route into Newcastle's midfield again. The former Arsenal man racked up 0.31 XGI in a 14-minute cameo against Aston Villa. He followed that up with a 0.36 XGI against Ipswich, and then finished the game this weekend against Brighton with a 0.13 XGI. So he is an attacking threat, and of course is well worth considering given Newcastle's desire to keep on winning and keep on getting points to get into that Champions League. And of course we all know St James's Park is a fortress when it needs to be. And of course, if anyone has also given up on Anthony Gordon due to his reduced minutes of late, snap him up if you get a chance, because he will be getting back into that starting 11 sooner rather than later. It's Manchester United against West Ham in the battle at the bottom, and West Ham are enduring their worst run in a good long while. They failed to win any of their last 8 matches, and if you like a good pattern, how about this from Graham Potter's men? Game week 28, lost. Game week 29, drew. Game week 30, lost. Game week 31, drew. Game week 32, you got it, lost. Game week 33, drew. Game week 34, lost. Game week 35, drew. I wonder what's going to happen in game week 36. If the pattern continues, they will lose again this weekend. And that could mean Manchester United assets are worth a punt. West Ham are not exactly prolific in front of goal under Graham Potter, so a Mazraoui, a Dorku, or even a Harry Maguire might be a decent one-week punt. Amad Diallo is a must-waiver if free. He's back fit. He is scoring again. Mason Mount is an outside pick, having scored in the defeat to Brentford, if he can keep fit. And Chido Obi Martin will get some minutes in this one, I'm sure, even if Ruben Amorim goes with Rasmus Højlund from the start. It's a Midlands derby between Nottingham Forest and Leicester City at the City Ground, and given how bad Leicester have been and how desperately Forest need points, any route into the Forest team is a sensible one. Defensively, if there's a Nico Williams knocking about, snap him up. Murillo is an injury doubt this week, which would open up the possibility of Morato coming in to start in his place. Elliot Anderson, in my opinion, is worth a punt given the opposition, although obviously if there is an Elanga or a Hudson-Odoi available, they would be preferred picks. Anyone really from any part of that Nottingham Forest side is worth signing, because it's Leicester City. It's Spurs against Palace in North London, and I fancy Crystal Palace to win this one and both teams to score. Matthias Tell has 3 returns in his last 5 appearances for Spurs. Odegaard was a scorer last time out as well. He started 2 of the last 3, as has Richarlison, and any of them could be free on your waivers. Spurs do tend to create chances, they do tend to score goals, but they also give up an awful lot. So Palace attacking assets would be a lovely move this week, but they are going to be harder to come by. However, if Ismail Assar is somehow still available, he'd be a very astute bit of business. And finally, at Anfield, it's the champions Liverpool against the pretenders to the crown, Arsenal. And I fully expect Liverpool to put on a show in this one, so I'd be looking at any midfield options from their side, assuming their forward options are already taken. Alexis McAllister has 4 returns now in his last 5 games. He'd be my pick of the options likely to be available on the waivers. But Curtis Jones also started the defeat to Chelsea. He played the full 90 minutes against Arsenal at the Emirates earlier in the season, so he would be another player on my radar if he's free. As for Arsenal, this is being recorded before their second leg against PSG, so we have no idea what's going to happen in that one. However, whatever happens, I feel like they're going to either rest players or feel pretty bummed out. So I try to avoid Arsenal players if I could, but if I had to, Mika Marino, if he is available, is likely to offer a threat from set pieces. I can't really see them doing much more than that this weekend. They don't have a great record at Anfield.
I'm Cyndi Lauper. My psoriasis was all over, even on my scalp, which may mean 4 times the risk for psoriatic arthritis. But Cosentyx works on both.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com or 1-844-COSENTYX. Ask your doctor about Cosentyx.
So those are your waiver picks for Game Week 36, but I also wanted to give everyone an update on our inaugural FPL Draft Zone Draft Leagues, because we have our first champion to congratulate, and we'll get to him in a minute. A reminder that there are 3 leagues. 4 teams go up from League One to the Championship. 4 teams go up from the Championship to the Premier League. So there is a lot to play for. We start in League One, where 6 teams can still earn promotion and 4 can still win the title. Thomas Helleso's Earth Winder Maguire have a 2-point lead over Sai Kiran Padashetti's Stone Cool 11, with Tyler Keller's Pickleball FC and Joe Ryan's Onanas in Pyjamas making up the current top 4. Just outside those promotion places are James Doyle's Xerxian Ham and Simon Zhang's Hakuna Mateta. A word for Tyler Keller, by the way, who is currently down in 3rd in League One, but who has got an incredible points tally of 1,641, which is comfortably the highest points tally across all FPL Draft Zone leagues. So well done to Tyler. In the Championship, 4 teams are heading back down into League One, and 2 are already confirmed as relegated. Upashak Prajapati's Gakpo Hive and Jan Sandstad's SL Biersen are already doomed. Commiserations to you. But then it gets very, very interesting in this league, because 8 of the remaining 9 teams in the division can still either be relegated or promoted. The final 2 relegation places are currently occupied by BL and Vencer Ramos and Isaac Kaner's Easy As, but they are just 7 and 6 points off the top 4 respectively, with 9 points still available. In 4th at the moment is Gabriel Blythehouse's Hawk Chuameni, with Tom Kay's Holt Fiction in 3rd, Mount Dice's Mount United in 2nd, and huge congratulations to Louis Tam's Colour Shack United, who have been confirmed as the Championship champions, with 3 games to spare, and they will be playing Premier League football next season. Adam C's Hot Take Master, Liam Smith's Heads, Shoulders, Knees and Tony, and Corey Judd's The Skirtle Squad can all still join Louis in the top flight as well. It's going to be one hell of an end to the campaign in that league. And I have to be honest, this is the pick of the FPL Draft Zone leagues for me this season. Not just for the jeopardy that is still to be decided, but also for the WhatsApp chat, which has been outstanding all season long. So well done to everyone who's been involved in that. And finally, onto the top division, the FPL Draft Zone Premier League, and 2 teams are already down. Pancho Palomo's Manchester Rovers and Richard Ellinger's Pulling Up Trees. Colin Kiley's Kurabar Stars and Paul Dunn's My Name Is My Name are currently on course to join them in the 2nd tier, but Mike Whitefield's Warriors, George Stathopoulos's Let's Roll, and Adebayor Chukwuka Kadibi's Sure Thing can all still go down as well. It is also all still to play for in the title race. Odin Urkadel Glatvet leads the way at the moment. He is 3 points clear of Aaron Hancock's Lupa Linda, but 7 teams can still win the first ever FPL Draft Zone Premier League title with 3 games to play. Jordan Strong's Answering Machine, Andrew Wagner's Notav FC, Oliver Brown's The Elf Army, Maxi Rodriguez, Harland Oates are all still in the running. And while it would take a miracle for Adebayor Chukwuka Kadibe to win the league from 7th, it is still just about mathematically possible. So loads to play for in those final 3 weeks. Good luck to everyone involved. It has been a great season across all 3 leagues. I also think it's probably the right time to make another announcement this week, and that is that these may well be the final weeks of this podcast for the foreseeable future, which I'm very sorry to say. I've had a blast making it, but I've really struggled to find the time to produce an episode every week for 38 weeks of the season, as I'm sure some of you may have noticed. It's just been too much with work, family, and life commitments, and I'm not sure any of that is going to get any easier next season. So it is with a bit of a heavy heart that I'm saying this, but I think in all likelihood, this podcast will be taking a break for the 2025-26 season, and quite possibly beyond that as well. Thanks so to everyone who has listened up to this point, and for all the kind words, all the nice reviews, all the lovely online interactions. It means the world. And hopefully some of the advice we have dished out over the season has put you in a good position to win your draft league. And those draft leagues have still got 3 more game weeks to run, starting with Game Week 36. A reminder that the waiver deadline for this week is on Friday the 9th of May at 1:30pm GMT. The free agency deadline is 24 hours later on Saturday the 10th of May. And then the game week gets underway 90 minutes later with 4 3 o'clock kickoffs. But that is it for this week. Good luck ahead of Game Week 36. Good luck in those waivers. Good luck in free agency. Good luck if you're at a crunch point in your draft league. I hope it goes the way you want. And until next time, it is bye for now.
podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.